Welcome back to the program. With us now, the chair of the House Economics Committee, Tim Wilson. And well, Tim, first of all, you've been accused of collusion with Jeff Wilson in terms of your committee hearings, various other accusations made against you. What do you say to them?
Well, firstly, bring it on. The allegation is that I actively went out, promoted people to participate in inquiries, encouraged submissions, and want people and Australians to have their say in a parliamentary process. If the inquiry chair didn't do that, they should resign.
Was there data sharing and that sort of thing as Labor accuses you of?
No, this is just complete rubbish. We have a website. We encourage people to send a submission through. There was an option for people to sign the Wilson Asset Management petition. The link to the petition was there. If people wanted to sign that, then we honoured their request. Nothing more. The whole basis of Labor's argument is just an absolute fiction. On Friday afternoon, the Deputy Chair wrote to the Australian Federal Police, asked for an investigation into me for sharing email addresses from the electoral roll. One problem, Kieran, the electoral roll doesn't have email addresses. This is just a grubby, pathetic, sad smear campaign rather than focusing on the issue. And the real issue is the million Australians who will have their overpaid tax stolen from them, and I'm going to stand up for those retirees, regardless of this smear campaign.
Do you accept that, though, there was a conflict of interest in buying shares in this company after you were appointed the chair?
Well, I didn't. They were purchased in March 2017, so that is factually inaccurate.
So,
the whole basis of this campaign is factually inaccurate.
Well, but back on the petition, when you were asking people to sign up this committee, there was an option to sign a petition. Do you think that was right? I mean, obviously there's a family and financial link between you and this committee. Maybe, perhaps, would it have been prudent to tell people attending this committee of that?
Well, firstly, the family connection that people keep going on about, which, are more than welcome scrutiny of my family tree, the person involved, Jeff Wilson, is my great-grandfather's cousin's grandson. You have to go back to the 1850s to draw this ridiculous connection. Secondly, yes, I hold shares that are managed by Wilson Asset Management. That was fully disclosed on the parliamentary register. It's never been a secret. They've always been there. And there is no impact...
But why not say it at the start of every hearing like David Coleman did?
There is no impact on the value of the shares or the income of the shares as a direct consequence of the policy.
You could still say at the start of every hearing. You don't say that, though.
But I could say that about every share that I own and every other committee.
This is relevant to this one.
But it's actually not. All Wilson Asset Management is doing is fighting back against this policy. Jeff Wilson himself has publicly declared he will have no impact from Labor's policy. For this policy to have had an impact on me, I would have to be retiring or have a zero tax marginal rate. My marginal rate is 45%. My age is 38.
Jeff Wilson said that he's funding the Stop the Retirement.
No, he said he chipped in, partially funded with others.
With other concerned individuals. Yeah, who are the other individuals?
Well, this is completely under the disclosure threshold. It's up to them to disclose themselves, but it's a complete furphy. I mean, it's a website, it's a private website. It's quite clear that it's a private website. It's owned by the Liberal Party.
You didn't have no coat of arms of...
Yeah, it's entirely consistent with the duties of a Member of Parliament to use the coat of arms as part of our parliamentary duties.
So it's a private website, but you can use your coat of arms?
Absolutely you can. That is the nature of how this system works. We have followed every guideline, but what everybody is distracted...
It does seem a bit confusing, though, that you got your coat of arms on a private website.
Yeah, but it's for a parliamentary purpose, which is to campaign against a piece of policy. But what everybody is forgetting in this discussion, and this is squarely where the issue should be on, which is the 1 million Australian taxpayers.
800,000.
1 million.
1 million.
I'm sorry, we can test this
Isn't
debate.
it 840,000?
No, it's around 1 million people. There are different numbers depending on who you go with, but there are 1 million people, Australian retirees, who will have their overpaid tax stolen. My electorate is the third most impacted in the country. I am going to stand up for them. I am going to fight for them, no matter what mud or smear Labor throws at me, and I will not back down.
Tim Wilson, when's the last time a committee such as yours looked into an opposition policy? It's quite unusual, isn't it?
Well, firstly, it's not a government committee, it's a parliamentary committee, and its job is to look into pre-legislative proposals, which is what it is doing. I mean, this is a proposal, it's been put out there, we're looking at it. I understand that this was done during Fightback. I understand that you've had a number of committees over the years that have looked at different proposals, different sections. I was speaking to a senator last night who told me about what Labor did during the GST debate, where they had, I think, 6 concurrent Senate committees looking at a policy before an election. So this is not unprecedented. The focus should be on the people and them having their voice and having their say to make sure that there's a full exploration of the consequences of what the tax that Labor Party is trying to steal.
When you talk about retirement tax, though, is it misleading when, so arguably, it's either, you say it's $1 million, Labor says it's 840,000.
So they're only screwing 840,000.
No, but it's out of 3.6 million retirees. The question I'm asking is it misleading to say it's a retirement tax when the vast bulk of retirees aren't affected?
No, because the reality is
retirees.
The tax credits that people are getting that will be stolen from them by Labor only reflects tax paid. So if you remove the tax credit, you'll just have tax paid. It's a tax. And the misinformation being pushed out there and Labor pushing around is just disingenuous and wrong.
But one of the things that's been argued is that it's retrospective. It's not, is it? Because shares are fluid by their nature. People can buy and sell shares, and there's been an argument for a long time that our local stocks have been inflated, their worth, because people have put it in there in order to get this excess credit paid.
Well, it's not an excess credit. It's tax paid on their behalf.
The excess franking credits beyond income
They're
tax.
Absolutely retirees who have structured their finances for security long-term into the future to make sure they get maximum income. I mean, that's not a surprise. People are doing it all over the country. And so the question then is, should we be coming along and smashing the structure of their investments so they have financial security when they retire? Or is the job of parliamentarians like myself to stand up for our constituents? I'm happy to have a discussion about real comprehensive tax reform. I know I've been on this program many times and argue it, and I'll argue it again. But this is a sham and an attempt to steal retirees' overpaid tax.
Well, Tim Wilson, do you accept that you've served as a big distraction here to the detriment of the government because you've over-egged the pudding in an area where Labor was vulnerable anyway?
No, because frankly, nobody was talking about this issue until we had an inquiry in it. We're going hard on it because we want to make sure there's full attention. A lot of newspapers that didn't even cover the issue are now starting to report on it and highlight just how many Australians are being impacted. And most critically, we are giving Australians a voice. They have a right to be heard, and I will support their right to be heard.
OK, Tim Wilson, thank you.